everyone. I'm Jackie Chang, the chair of the New York City Youth Board. So welcome to our annual board meeting. And I want to start off very quickly. Let's go ahead and introduce ourselves for the record, and then we'll get started. So,
Sure. Andrew Miller, Assistant Commissioner for External Relations for the Department of Youth and Community Development. Get that?
you can still
Yeah.
Caitlin Edwards, USCD Board Attorney. Liz Krebs, Vice Chair of the Youth Board.
Peter McCree, Youth Board member.
I'm Sarah Marks, DYTD's Director of Intergovernmental Affairs.
Hello, I'm Bube Wayman, Youth Engagement Officer on the Youth Board.
Hi, I'm Jordana Lee. I'm the Secretary Engagement Officer or something of that title on the Youth Board.
Hi, my name is Erica Larson. I'm part of the Strategic Gateway Project Fellow and Youth Board member.
George Host happened to be a long time with the Youth Board.
Lucy Friedman, and I apologize in advance, I'm gonna have to leave a little early. Happy to be here.
Hi, Jeanette Rodriguez. Have worked a long time with DYCD and my day job is at Nike.
Saying Falam, been in youth board since November. Glad to join in this meeting.
Thank you. So I think we have a couple more members joining us. They come in, they could introduce themselves. And first, it's really fabulous to be able to hold our meeting here at the Lincoln Center today. And thank you, board member Jordana Lee, for making that possible. I also understand that you've invited us for a show after the meeting, and we will, board member Elizabeth Krebs will be, have invited us to a refreshment hour prior to the show. So thank you
All
both.
welcome, everyone's welcome.
Yeah, thank you both for your leadership in building board engagement and building on the opportunity for us to share our experience as well as build on the work we do together here. So thanks again. Now, it was great to see everyone in June who were able to be here. And we had the opportunity to recognize a couple of board members, Nancy Weckstein, as well as Elizabeth Krebs. Nancy has retired, and we wish her great, really a great retirement, as well as honoring her contributions to the youth and family and the department over decades. And then Elizabeth Krebs for her leadership, particularly during COVID as an interim chair. So that said, we've had a really active year so far. It's my first year as chairperson. We've welcomed 2 new board members, Saeed Alam and I see Chrissy.
She had a family, she had to take care of her daughter.
Thank you.
So, yes.
It's wonderful. And we were able to launch 2 subcommittees to look at youth workforce development as well as community coalition. And we'll be sharing with the board, the rest of the board, on our recommendations and getting an opportunity to discuss what we would like to put forward for the commissioner to consider. Also, I'm really excited on all the commitment by the board to further engage, particularly through summer youth appointment placements and providing an arranging space for DYCD events and meetings, and also offering to do workshops around college readiness, workforce readiness, and participating on the subcommittees. So thank you all, making it a really active year. I would I'm really grateful that we've committed ourselves to working together to enhance youth, family, and community engagement, and I'm grateful that we are doing so this year. So now to some board business. We have board elections. We're going to get that out of the way right away. So there are two positions that are up for consideration, and Peter, can you tell us about what we've done so far?
I could try, I'll try. I'm gonna say we've done a whole, I mean, all I can say is that I know that we sent out information to everyone, with, I guess, asking if anybody wanted to, I guess, volunteer for the positions. I received 2 responses, but then, most folks said that they're happy with the incumbents, who are in the positions today. But that was really the only responses I got. I got 2. And then when they were thinking about it, and they said, "Oh, I think that we'll stick with the incumbents." That's sort of what I got.
Okay.
So I didn't get really much of a response from folks.
Thank you so much, Peter. So at this time, if there's anyone who would like to nominate others to be considered for a vote. If not, we need to officially affirm our current incumbents. So, I had to take a vote. So for the role of vice chair, it is to support the chair and act in the chair's absence. This includes stepping into the chair's occasional meetings, and to maintain strategic overview and be prepared to lead with authority on key issues when the chair is not present. So do I have motion for Elizabeth Cribbs as vice chair?
Yes.
Yes.
And
Second.
a second. Great. Accepted. Elizabeth Cribb will be the board's vice chair. Thank you. So for the Secretary of Engagement, the role is to implement activities designed to engage and motivate members, act as conduit for communication between board members and executive committee, set up meetings, giving proper notice of any meetings, and promptly distributing materials like agendas and minutes. For the position of Secretary of Engagement, do I have the motion for Jordana Lee as the Secretary of Engagement?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you. Accepted. Jordana Lee will be the board secretary of engagement. All right, now to the board's calendar for 2025. So Jordana has reached out to the members to gauge their interest, and we've gotten back the responses. The majority of our membership has identified Wednesday morning as their best day and Wednesday afternoon as their second. So that actually mirrors our current calendar, where we've done meetings in the morning during the spring and summer, and then meetings in the afternoon for the fall and winter. So we're gonna do that for the coming year. I do want to acknowledge that we did get Fridays as a notable date, alternative date on our survey, but I want to stress that we will be reviewing this annually, and of course we will accommodate any recommendations and any requests for changing our schedule. So, any comments around Wednesday as our dates for 2025? All right, great. All right, so Abube. It's with great delight that we get to kind of hear from Abube, our very first youth engagement officer on our executive committee, and to congratulate him for graduating from NYU. So Abube, I'm going to have you take it and tell us what you've been doing in terms of youth engagement and civic engagement.
Yeah, thank you, Jackie. Hi, everyone. It's good to see you all again. There's been a lot of things that we've been planning at Gardner. I've been working on especially just focused on youth engagement and driving civic engagement among young people in New York City. In my own life personally, like Jackie said, I did graduate from NYU this past May, so it's been an amazing time of growth and experiences. I started a new fellowship as well at the Department of Health. They started a youth council there, so just expanding that same civic engagement to young people in that aspect as well. So that's what I'm working on at the moment. But then just back to my work with the youth board, Eduardo and I worked this past June, July on shooting a video to push youth engagement and to promote and create awareness on civic engagement among young people and just ways they could get involved in civic engagement in their society at various levels. We'll be seeing the video shortly. I haven't seen the video as well, so it's gonna be a surprise. I just shot it and just closed my eyes. So I was like, okay, I hope it comes out the way we had in mind and the way we envisioned, and I'm sure it will. But it's been really great. After the video, now the plan is to figure out what time and to talk about when we do want this to go out on social media, on YouTube, on various platforms. And then after that, we don't want to just stop at a video, but also go forward to create some kind of tangible document that people could refer to when they want to speak about civic engagement or go back to read about and see ways they could get involved. So we are planning on creating a brochure where that could have some of the details and some of the things that was spoken about in the video, including like community boards and just various aspects of civic engagement for young people. So that's something that we're looking forward to launching, hopefully, before the end of this year for sure, and moving forward. But I just want to take this moment to also thank Jackie for your leadership and for your support and for us to do this and promoting this, energy for young people, and Eduardo as well for all your help in making sure this is possible. And yeah, I'm excited for it. Thank you.
Great. So later on, we'll be hearing from the communication team on when we will be launching and reviewing the video. So thanks again, Abube. All right, so our next item is we're going to be reviewing the recommendations that the subcommittee has put together and open it up for discussion. So in March, we launched the 2 subcommittees, and I want to first thank the board members, Raymond Singleton, Reggie Miller, Saeed Alam, and Chrissy Sudano for participating on these subcommittees. And so when we launched it, we were able to meet with a variety of DYCD program areas. And so we met with the Director of Interagency Coordination, Alexander, is there?
I'm sorry. I was just looking for the meeting minutes of the pool meeting.
We have to do that
Oh,
still.
yeah, we
haven't
still
done
have to
that
do
yet.
that.
I had it on my list.
My bad.
I saw that we haven't done that yet.
Thank
Oh.
you.
Yeah, I was
So
to remind
let's
you.
do that first.
Okay.
All right. How did I miss that?
A lot going on.
There is a lot going on. So I would like to motion for approval of the minutes that was distributed. Did everyone review it? Second? All right. So let that be on record as being approved. That was really an important item. I missed
No, we're
that.
good. You're going through it all. You're
So
good.
much exciting things on the agenda.
There is so much exciting things on the agenda.
When we submit our request for state funding for the youth development grant, they actually ask us for the
Yeah,
minutes
the
of all
minutes.
of our youth board and
Yeah.
youth council meetings.
Yeah.
So they don't just disappear
Yeah.
into nowhere. They actually are supporting document for us to be able to obtain some state funding.
Yeah, no, it's, yes. All right, so back to the subcommittee. And so during the summer, we met with a variety of UICD program areas and their leadership. We met with Director of Interagency Coordination, Alexander Betancourt. Thank you. Director of Commission for Workforce Development, Valerie Mulligan. Director of Intern and Earn, Sedona Murphy. Budget and Finance Director, Ramon Walsh. Planning, Program Integration and Evaluation Assistant Commissioner, Jessica Rayfeld.
Yes.
Associate Commissioner for Diversity and Equity, Denise Ramirez. And EEO Officer, Ruma Debbie. So we met with many people, and we really want to thank the Commissioner for letting us meet with their team, and for the team taking out really valuable time to answer our questions and explore with us the possibility of enhancing programming. So the Youth Workforce Development Subcommittee examined how programs could further prepare our youth for sustaining employment, identifying career opportunities, and learning about future employment trends. The Youth Provider Committee Coalition Subcommittee looked at areas where community-based organization needs support, such as identifying additional funding streams, how to leverage community partnerships, and how technical support and capacity building can strengthen their programming. So I would like to read the recommendations that we came up with. And what I'm hoping is that the board would support some of them, and actually, it would be great if they could support all of them. But we're gonna go ahead and review. I think you guys received it also in an email form, right? It's in the folder.
Yes.
So our recommendation in the subcommittee for Community Coalition are for funding access. We would like to monitor the accessibility and impact of the new passport system that was recently rolled out, combining contracting and payment. So we would like that monitor to make sure that there is access for our community-based organization providers and subcontractors. And for the request for proposals, we recommend incorporating negotiated responsibility in subcontract linkage agreements by funding built-in planning time between vested parties to establish shared understanding, identify common vision and goals, and measure success away from matrix established by CBO expertise to outcomes determined jointly by subcontractors and CBO providers. So if there's anything that seems oddly worded or unclear, please open it up and we will discuss it. We'd like to prioritize subcontracting work to local organizations, so more localized subcontracting in the communities. Prioritize high needs neighborhoods and indigenous leadership and organizations embedded in local communities. Now for the Youth Workforce Subcommittee, our recommendations for Summer Youth Employment Program includes separating the population. So right now, the program service individuals from age 14 to 24. We recommend that the age group is separated between 14 and 17 and 18 and 24. We recommend that we expand the window for SYEP application for earlier rollout to give youth more time to apply and consider placement opportunities. We would like more incorporation of youth with disability and vulnerable populations, and incorporate support for obtaining an NYID for 18 to 24, so getting an ID. For intern and earn recommendations, again, we would like to separate out the 16 and 18-year-olds from the 19 to 24. Largely because we feel like being out of school is really very different than being still in school during this opportunity. We would like to recommend offering financial literacy, including opening bank accounts, establishing credit, and saving and investment as part of the literacy. We would like to recommend an increase in pay for the 19 to 24-year-olds beyond minimum wage. And we would like to incorporate support for obtaining a New York City driver's license for occupation pathways that require one through the program. So those are our recommendations. Yes?
So, question on the request for proposal recommendation, where you say, I guess in the second sentence, measure success away from metrics established like that, I'm not sure what that means.
Right. Yes.
Tell me what it means.
So when the committee discussed this, it was to move away from the CBO who's subcontracting, determining what the outcomes will be without the subcontractors being involved in the discussion of what the outcomes will be.
So if I hear.
Yes,
this
I
correctly,
know.
one thing is you're suggesting first, which I totally support, that the contractors and DYCD work together to identify what the metrics should be. And then sort of the next level, I'm reading this right, the contractors and discuss with the subcontractors what the measures are. So nobody's, so there isn't a sense, or it isn't happening that you're imposing metrics that may be totally.
Yeah, I think it's more about having both parties being aware of what needs to be, what the outcome. Successfully implementing.
Well, I mean, aware is different than.
No, you're right,
aligned,
yes.
Than making,
Yes.
right, I mean, I guess I read this,
I think it should be rewarded, and I think we'll go back. But I hear your concerns,
Okay.
100%, that it's, right now it's a little bit unclear as to what that relationship is, and the idea of moving a little bit more away from imposing and more collaborative language.
Jackie, for the
Yes.
second bullet point, prioritize subcontracting work to local organizations, how is this different or in support of what I thought the cohort model currently in place is, for example, within Beacon programs? Because there are CDOs managing Beacon programs, and they have cohorts that come in and also create and disseminate programs in that local community. So is this different, complementary, or how is it distinct, I guess, what this is asking?
So the way the linkage letters work right now is that when a primary provider puts in a proposal
Yes.
for, to implement programming, they're required to have some subcontractors for certain areas that their organizations are,
Experts.
that do not have expertise or cannot provide through their current structure. So then they could subcontract, and you need to submit linkage letters. So what we're recommending is that these letters should include planning time before just putting together a linkage letter and the proposal and kind of throwing it in. That there will be time for the subcontractor and the primary application going in, those who are writing the primary application, to have time to work it out before their submission. Does
So
that
is
make
it that
sense?
they're what's the step, that they're approved and then they can find a subcontractor,
No,
or?
no, you have to put in your subcontract with your application.
Right.
So are
So
we,
even if you don't know who that is?
No, you do, you have to identify them. But what often happens is, larger providers will have kind of a roster of subcontractors already. And often, they just stick in the linkage letters. So what we're hoping is, one, to take the opportunity for primary subcontractors to perhaps explore more local agencies before their application, have the time to be able to do that, be able to provide some funding for that exploration. And then it would also allow outcomes that might be more appropriate for the community, the local community. Yeah, to be able to do a little more of that.
But that does require probably longer lead times between
Application.
Between the application, right, and the due dates, I guess.
Yeah, and also the rollout of, right, the whole RFP rollout, they just kind of need to move it to allow more. It's kind of what we recommended in terms of rolling out applications for SYEP as well. Just
And
a
then,
little more time.
is there the thought to what it would take for that provider, you know, their end, the manpower? Because if they have a roster, but now they have to explore additional.
Right, and this is what we're,
There's
yeah,
certain resources that they would need for that exploration.
and that's the built-in kind of like time for planning.
Well, I don't think just time, it's also
Funded,
funding,
yeah.
right, resources that they would have to take from their organization for that exploration, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, we wrote in built-in funding. I think we need to flush it out more. I think there needs to be more clarity here.
I think they're all valid points.
Yeah,
So,
but I don't think it was articulated quite yet. So I think we'll take it back. We might just point it out a little bit. And I think having that greater lead time was something we discussed. So we could put it back in as well.
And these, I just wanna like fully understand, like, these recommendations, we would be giving these in, but then they'd go through a whole process to actually become a policy?
So what we're gonna do is we're going to present these recommendations to Commissioner Howard in December,
Okay,
for
got it.
consideration. The subcommittee believes that this will be taken certainly into serious consideration.
Yeah, no, I just was wondering what the steps were.
Yeah, that's
and
what we're
how-
gonna be
got
doing.
it, got it.
So I have a question on the first one, too,
Mhm.
where it says, and I maybe should be more familiar with the passport system, but when it says monitor the accessibility of the system, and then where it says combining contracting and payments, is that part of the system?
Yeah.
Or you're recommending that they be?
No, so Passport, the contracting and the payment were separate systems before this. And so two systems now, the two systemic processes now are combined into one, which is the Passport system. It just got rolled out. And they're hoping that it would work better, that payments will be able to be processed earlier because it's connected to its contract already. And hopefully that will be resolved, but we need to monitor it. So steps have been taken from issues that have, especially in payment. Delayed payment is huge. They're hoping that this will resolve it, but we need to monitor that.
If I could just add, we're very happy with Passport. We've been giving out advances to our providers because we know just how
Right.
important liquidity is. So we are laser focused on that. We're also laser focused on financial literacy, so I appreciate that recommendation. You'll see that in our workforce development programs as well as our runaway enrollment. They get that. It's actually required under the local law. And I look forward to working with you.
Yes, great, thank you so much. So what I would like to propose at this time for the subcommittee is that we will go back and kind of rework the draft, share it with everyone before December, so we can finalize it, and then present it to the commissioner.
Oh, and one more thing. We actually had a CDL pilot program this summer on Staten Island, very successful.
That's
And the
So-
CDD.
commercial driver's license.
Yeah.
Pilot at with United Activities Unlimited.
So
And
important.
Successful, we're
Yeah.
happy with it. I was at the graduation, and there was one woman in the class, she got the various awards.
So it's like a class C, you're like,
Yes.
yes.
Yeah, I just had one question. So
Mhm.
on that request for proposal recommendations, that first bullet, again to the point on measuring success. So I know we talked about like away from metrics to outcomes. Actually, when I first read that, I wasn't sure if you were talking about moving away from metrics, just like, you know, number of students served and towards outcomes, which is actually really great. So I don't know if that was a conversation y'all had, but as you like flesh out these ideas, it might be worth thinking about that. So
Yeah.
like just to give an example is, you know, if you're measuring the success of a tutoring program, instead of just thinking we served 100 students, like how many students then passed the tests or, you know, the state tests. So, yeah, I love that point about measuring success and how we think about that.
Great. I'll note that, and we can flesh that out a little more as to what kind of outcomes we hope for. All right.
This was great feedback, by the way,
Mhm.
real time, really appreciate it, so thank you, everyone,
Yeah. Definitely appreciate
And
it.
thank you for the work with the subcommittees, you were doing.
It was so interesting. I highly recommend being on it. We heard from, I mean, everyone's doing such great work and are so committed to really pushing the needle and seeing what's possible. I'm just very energized by the opportunity to meet with such wonderful people who are actually doing the work.
Yeah, I think many of these, especially prioritizing subcontracting work to local organizations and prioritizing high needs neighborhoods, I think that's the sort of thing that we would even want to share with other agencies in the city. It makes so much sense. I'm surprised that it was not a priority prior to making a suggestion like that with our agency or other agencies. Because it seems to make so much sense, especially subcontractors, because you're talking about very often smaller contracts, you know, so there's not that much weight on it.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of those local subcontractors.
And we also feel like there's an opportunity once they're subcontracted within their community that what they're doing could then have more, like if it's a dance studio, that because it's community, like they could have more enrollment as well, you know, through the opportunity of being able to do some programming.
And it's a big economic engine in these neighborhoods, because there are many small subcontractors who are hiring local people. And so it's a real economic engine for these communities.
Yeah, and community.
And a good apprenticeship.
So, yeah, I'll make sure that we really push that point, you know, make that a forefront. So thank you for sharing that.
I just want to call out for SYP, I love the how intentional it is to separate age groups. I think that is such a critical piece, because there's just different levels of coaching, there's just different levels of experience, so it's very purposeful, this one, so I really love it.
And we also thought it's really great to have some cohort building.
Yes.
When you're closer in age, experience, like there's more support for each other. So that was another reason why we really felt strongly about it.
And was there a discussion about because assume again that next year there'll be another 100,000 slots, or more, about the distribution, about how many, because my sense is now that the 14, and I would support it, that there's many more 14 to 17-year-olds than 18 to 24-year-olds. But is there any discussion about whether that, should be,
More intentionally, like, right. We did not. Our big concern was how the 18 to 24-year-olds were being reached.
Right.
So that, I think that's something that they'll have to come back to us about in terms of the structure for it. Once they actually, what's possible in terms of separating these groups out in the first place, if that's possible.
I mean, there's also a tension, I guess, between what the purpose of the program are. I mean, does probably think of it more for high school students and not for college or out of school students.
Yeah.
And there's other funding for the lower people, so, I mean, but you can feel the tension. I mean,
Yeah,
it should
and
be
they have
tension.
very different life responsibilities on some level when you're older and out of school as well. So taking those things into more of a consideration, not putting them all into one big giant workshop, like maybe they should have separate workshops. So that was a recommend, particularly for, I think, for the intern and earn level, in terms of trajectory of what's possible
Is
for
that
them.
program used to be called Learn and Earn, and now it's a new name?
Sarah, you're good at that, because we changed all the names of them.
Honestly, I'm not familiar with intern and earn right now. We
There's
have
Learn and Earn,
advance and earn, so
first.
we have learn and earn and train and earn are the, what used to be called in-school and out-of-school youth, and those are the federally funded programs with the WIO Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act. And we have a program called Advance and Earn, which is what is kind of the merger of what had been some internship programs and some literacy programs, because we realized that a lot of the young people that were coming for the workforce work actually needed help on the academic side, and that they needed to, they weren't even eligible to be able to work on the types of professional certifications that the workforce programs were offering them until they had some more background in terms of a schooling path. So that program is called Advance and Earn, and that's a city-funded program.
And is Ladders for Leaders still a thing?
Yes, Ladders for Leaders.
Yes, it
Ladders
falls
for Leaders
under-
is part of the SYEP program.
Okay.
So SYEP has a lot of different opportunities now. There's what we sometimes call community slots, which is the sort of classic, anybody walking in the door, puts their name in, goes through a lottery system. We have Ladders for Leaders, which is meant to be, it is not your first work experience. It's an application only. It has more employer involvement also. The employers are involved in selecting the young people. There's an interview piece of it, and that is more competitive. And then we also have what we often refer to as special initiatives, which are programs that are geared toward very specific populations. People living in NYCHA developments, people who are affiliated with certain high schools. We have a program that working with vulnerable youth, people who have involvement with ACS, coming from foster care, people who are justice involved, so sort of all of those. All of those programs together are in the bucket of SYEP.
Because I see in the commissioner's report already, there's something called Work, Learn, and Grow, which is yet a different.
Well, yeah, okay.
That's
So
the year-round
that is
program.
also, and that is connected as well to SYEP, right?
Okay.
So that grew out of SYEP, an
Right.
interest in having programs that continued through the school year. So Work, Learn, and Grow, those are people who have been in SYEP and are going to certain partner schools and would like to continue. That's always obviously going to be smaller because these are all people who are in high school. So their schedules don't always permit a full work schedule. They may not be interested in a full work schedule during the year, the way they were for those 6 weeks. So Work, Learn, and Grow is a sort of linked, is also in the SYEP linked bucket.
So intern and earn, those, that happens during summer or?
It's
during school?
year-round.
Year-round.
That's also year-round, like work.
That's through the year,
Yeah.
Like work, learn,
yeah.
and
The
grow.
cohorts,
Okay.
they have two
Yeah.
or three cohorts.
Yeah,
But what we could do is have workforce maybe give a presentation.
we would love that,
Okay.
yeah.
We should also be just aware
Yes,
of time.
Saeed?
I'm just keeping on time,
Yeah,
aware of time.
so one more, so you had a question?
Yeah.
Oh.
So, yes.
Yeah,
No, for her, I have a question. Yeah, so my second question is, we have also like 18 to 24, and we have people who are like employed, like under the leads advisement programs. Do we partner with leads advisement in terms of it? Employment for college students with disabilities.
We can talk about that afterwards. I'm not familiar with that, but we can connect you to our workforce team.
Great, thank you. And you had a question?
yeah, before
Sorry.
I go ahead, just wanted to introduce myself.
Yes, thank you.
My name is Kwesi Jime. I'm a recent graduate from Middlebury College, and I'm also starting my MPA at Baruch. I've done some work with MUBE on the youth council, so definitely glad to be in this room because we're all super invested in youth. Just had a point to make in terms of what you were saying in terms of addressing communities that have the highest need and really supporting the local infrastructure and ecosystem there to deliver programs and services. The Mayor's Office of Equity and that interagency coordination, the Mayor's Office of Equity, as well as I believe DOH, MH have identified this thing called true neighborhoods, and these are all neighborhoods that were the most impacted by COVID and are now experiencing the highest levels of need in terms of economic support as well as health outcomes. And so I'm wondering what that looks like in terms of having those tree neighborhoods, which have already been identified by the city, inform that process. So that's all I wanted to say.
Yeah, we should look into that. See if we could partner and learn a little more about that. Thank you so much for bringing that up. That's really great. We'd love to learn more about it. All right. So in terms of time, yes,
I'll speed it up. I won't
Commissioner,
get-
Representative.
Yes, the commissioner regrets not being able to be here. He had an emergency, but he wants to thank all of you for all your hard work. Clearly, there's a lot of great energy in this room. Thank you, Jackie, for your work. Thank you, Eduardo. Somehow we keep track of all these boards, so thank you. Thank you, Mark. I don't know how he does it. I see him at all sorts of meetings, filling everything. So I just want to talk just quickly about the summer. What a great summer it was. It started off with good news that the DYCD's budget now stands at $1.4 billion. I mean, Nancy and Lucy, you could tell me about how low it used to be. When I worked under Jeannie Mulgrave, it was around $300 million, and half of that was discretionary funded, so it's incredible investment in young people. And we really had a nice, safe summer this year. You know, as you know, over 100,000 young people were engaged this summer. We did get some additional state funds, which helped add to that slot, so we welcome that. We had 110,000 kids in Summer Rising. We actually expanded hours at some of our beacons and cornerstones. OMS, well, the Office of Neighborhood Safety, was on the ground. We actually expanded Saturday Night Lights to summer night lights, which include Sunday hours as well. And we're just so pleased to see the impact that it's having on the safety of young people, because this summer was great. I'll give you an example. I was just telling Jackie earlier. Last year, we had 7 young people in Staten Island that were tragically killed. This year, we had none. And that's as a result of the investments that we are making and the work that you're doing. So I want to thank you on behalf of the Commissioner.
Thank you so much.
Really wonderful.
Very quick and concise. All right, how are we doing on time?
I think we're okay. I wanted to make sure we had enough time for your report, and like we could even go back to some questions, but I know we have a couple more presentations too.
Yeah. So, yes. Oh, yes. And are there any questions for the commissioner? That's right. That is actually
And if I don't know the answer, usually Sarah knows the answer.
Okay, great.
So
We take team.
two questions. One that I hear from the field, which is about after school, and if there is the hope had been, I guess, that the current contracts would be rebid in
Specifically Compass?
September Compass, yeah, for 2025, and there's, I guess, waiting a concept paper and.
We're still working on a concept paper. We hope to have it released shortly.
Shortly, but no
Yeah.
dates. Okay. All right, because I know the field is, people are very concerned. 'Cause
I
again,
certainly appreciate that,
yeah, again, just going to Jackie's point about more time to talk with contractors, with subcontractors, you need more time. So.
And I think because we did get a chance to meet with the contracting or the RFP department. And I think the concept paper should be coming out like soon.
Yeah.
Like this.
But you're
People have been saying that for a
Yeah.
while.
But anyway, yeah,
Okay.
it would be nice to be able to push everything.
And then my second question was what I read in the paper about how many runaway youth are being turned away from shelters.
Yes.
And I know that that's been a big investment and interest of.
Yes, so as you know, we used to have 253 beds. We now have 813, which is a tremendous investment in that. Most of that growth has been attributed to the asylum seeker crisis, but I'm very pleased to let you know that there was a spike in the winter, and that the numbers have gradually gone
Okay,
down.
good, okay. Yeah, not as concerning to me, but
Mm-hmm,
thank you.
thank you.
Although I do wanna add, like,
No.
because they often call it sort of a turn away, right?
That's a good point,
That
Sarah.
we make every effort that nobody is, if there is no space, right, in a DYCD program, and the DYCD program, it can serve up to age 24, some of our programs up to age, most of our residential programs up to age 20, and 60 for the 21 to 24, but the goal is to find a young person that comes to a drop-in center and is looking for somewhere. Like our goal, our provider's goal is to help them find somewhere to go. And so even if there isn't space in that, in a DYCD residential program, we are going to encourage and, you know, really work with them to try to find another place that they will be eligible for. And you also may have seen some things in the news about changing rules about the length of time that people can stay in various types of shelter and crisis housing, and none of that is applicable to the DUICD RHY programs. Those are regulated by New York State, so the length of stay that someone is there, the eligibility criteria, all of that has remained unchanged for the past few years. We have the maximum length of stay that the state will allow us to have, and none of the changes related to asylum seekers have been passed down to the DUICD programs.
Thank you. Okay. How are we doing on time?
We're good, it's 4 o'clock,
Can I
we're
just
good.
relax?
Yeah,
We have a whole hour. All right, so, thank you. Thank you all for those very interesting questions as well for the commissioner. So I'd now like to welcome the communication unit.
Yes, that is me.
Yay. Mark, can you introduce yourself and?
So my name is Mark Benavides. I am the Director of Communications and Content Strategy at DYCD. I'm going to first play the video that we made with Abube. I just want some disclaimer is that we created this with SYEP Seasonals at the time that this was recorded. The SYEP team that we had was phenomenal, super creative, thought outside the box, and created really great content with quite amazing speed. So this is one of those videos. I'm going to play it, and then I'll kind of go into a quick introduction of who Comms Team is, and just to highlight that we're a resource for all of you to create content, to spread whatever message that may be. Priority being getting youth engaged and joining us. So just gonna hit play. The sound should work.
It should work.
No pressure.
Oh gosh, it's really hot today.
Yeah, no, it's kind of hot.
Hi, I'm Sean.
Hi, how are you? I'm in Louis.
Oh, nice to meet you. Do you live in New York City?
Yeah, I'm from New York City. I grew up in Queens since I was 14, and then over the past year, I moved to Manhattan.
What is it that you do?
I recently graduated from NYU.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm a recent graduate. I graduated with my bachelor's in media culture and communication. And now I just do work in youth advocacy and city government all across New York City.
Oh wow, so what organizations are you affiliated with?
Yeah, I'm a part of the Department of Youth and Community Development. I don't know if you're familiar with them, but DYCD is my brother and sister keepers youth council. I'm also part of the Youth Agenda Steering Committee. It's a committee it's a committee with nonprofit organizations trying to create change for young people in New York City.
That's cool. So what does it look like to be like civically engaged in your community, being a part of these boards?
Well, it gives me a platform to have a voice. Like I start from like having a voice and participating in civic engagement, be civically involved in what's going on in my society. I've never been one to shy away from issues and issue areas in community. So being part of this committee has helped me create change and provide recommendations that can actually be passed into policies and help out young people throughout New York City.
Oh wow, so you're saying that when you join these community boards, like you could actually help make policy and laws?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, wow.
Some of these community boards, you can join as young as 16 years old. So like community boards and neighborhood development areas, these are all programs that exist at the lowest level of community. So young people could join these community boards and be able to impact change by having their voices heard, by speaking out in meetings, and just discuss what's going on in their communities. Some people don't know what time the street lights go off, what time the park closes. So getting into this community boards and being part of these meetings help, provide that information, and also help give youth a platform where they can speak up and have their voices heard as well.
What would you say to a youth that's 16 years old that feels like they don't really have a voice?
Well, I'll tell them you do have a voice. You do have a voice, speak out, let your voice be heard. I see what you post on social media. All that is part of having a voice, And when you text your friends and when you say things and when you have strong, powerful opinions, all that is part of having a voice. So instead of just leaving it in the text, why not speak into the world? Speak up, fight for change, create change, and then just walk in that path.
Do you feel like collectively, if the youths join these community boards, that they would have actual impact?
Yeah, for sure. These community boards impact communities in a lot of ways. When changes and laws need to be made at those areas and in those communities, they start from the community boards. What have you been talking about for the past couple of months? What are decisions and recommendations that have come up with? So it's community boards that kind of help with this. We also have that a part of committee, a part of the Youth Agenda Steering Committee, we have the Youth Agenda, which compiles issue areas that youth are going through in society and help provide recommendations so that these could be passed into policies someday. These issue areas we've touched on housing insecurity, which is a big thing in New York City right now, educational equity, mental health, which is a big one that we've seen from COVID-19. Wow. And then, just many more areas like that youth want to see changes, so we just help provide that change and give them a step for that change.
So, what would you tell someone that wants to be a part of this group, right? These community action boards, like, what does their participation look like? Do they have to attend meetings? Like, what is required of them when they join these community boards?
Well, every youth organization and community boards have a different approach. A lot of them have to do with attending meetings. A gathering where people get to talk and speak and share opinions. Most of them are in a respectful and tolerable way. Other times it gets a little heated. So that comes with creating change. If you want something to get done, there might be people who don't fully agree with them, but again, you got your opinions out there. People who agree with you, and that's how changes are made in society.
So it's really, really important, regardless if you feel like you're gonna get pushback or not, to share your voice.
Oh, for sure, especially as a young person. We know, and I can tell from my experience, that adults always have a lot to say, and they don't always want to feel comfortable listening to pushback from young people. But if you have a powerful opinion and you believe that things that have to change in society, I believe you should push forward with it, and you should gather support from society, and you never know how far you can go.
Yeah. Oh wow, that's a lot of great information.
A lot for like two people who just met right now.
That was social butterfly. But thank you for sharing that information with me. All right, enjoy your day.
Ooh, I think you're on the second career.
That's great.
Did you have all that memorized, or how?
No, as the question came up.
You did so well.
Thank you.
That was great. I could never listen to myself speak.
And who was your co-star? Who was
It was Sean from DYC. That was actually
She did great.
And the first time you saw
that was the second time I met her. The first time was in a youth board meeting, but we didn't speak. But that was our first time actually working together. It was nice. This was fun. It was fun shooting it. I'm glad it came out well. Thank you.
And that's just the start, Bube.
Yeah.
Yes, correct. So this is a quick presentation, but I just want to highlight what we do and who we are. Okay, so we are the DYCD communications team. These are our primary platforms: Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, now called X, LinkedIn, and YouTube. You guys know the mission: alleviate poverty and provide opportunities for New Yorkers for communities to flourish, and our vision. We're all very clear on that. So the agenda real quick, I just want to cover who we are and what we do, the social media platforms that we use, just talk a little bit more on that, and really just how we can start sharing your message. So first, who we are. So we're a pretty small team. Over the summer, we had about 6 seasonals. So we were really able to just pump out videos, content. It was really great. But for the most part, this is our team. My supervisors are Jasmine Shepard and Mark Zestovich, Chief Communication Strategist and the Chief Public Information Officer. Myself, I work with 3 other creatives, Samantha Byam, which is the videographer, she's our digital storyteller. Shamila Ramprasad, I don't know if you've ever worked with her, but she's our graphic designer, she is phenomenal. And then we have Christian Corneal, who's on the back end, he does the web admin stuff, updating web pages, things like that. So what we do, so when I first started, our social medias, for lack of better words, they were a little fluffy. So when I came on board, I really wanted to make our platform a place where people can go for resource, people can go for information, people can go for opportunities, people can go for post-event highlights, partner highlights, things like that. So some of the things that I just mentioned are covered here. Yeah, pretty clear, and it's just kind of revolves around that. So our social media platforms. So our main platforms are Instagram and YouTube. Some statistics for Instagram that you guys might be interested in. About 72% of our audience are women. About 30% of that 70% are female, are within the age of 35 to 44. So assumingly mothers, right? Let's see. The age range that you guys might be interested in, like 13 to 17, about 3.2% is our audience. So yes, we cater a lot of our information based on what City Hall sends us, our partner sends us, that we post on social media, but we really are trying to mold a message for the younger groups that really resonate with them and just continuously push out information at a decent pace where they will always want to come back. So we're always working on that. Thankfully, Bube shared his time with us, but this is just the beginning, right? Hopefully through this video, and hopefully if you guys don't follow us on Instagram, YouTube, things like that, I would highly encourage you to do so. Check out all the content that we've posted. Let that be your brainstorm on what we are capable of. I kind of like to say that you guys are the painters with the idea, we're the paintbrush. So you guys kind of tell us what you need and we will get that created. Granted, again, we are a small team once again, so there's kind of a lead time and there needs to be proper communication, but we can get it done for sure. So yeah, so this is our Instagram, just a quick highlight. So as of now, we have about 18,200, almost 18,300 followers on Instagram. I have been here for about a year now. I hit a year in August. So within that year, we've increased our followers by about 33%. And that's really just posting information that people want to know about. It's not about motivational Mondays or feel good Tuesdays, which was a lot of the focus, I guess, was just creating content, but I wanted more structure. So that's kind of what I focused on, and the results kind of speak for themselves. So some of our social media posts are the resources that get sent to us, whether recently just posted a post today, actually. They're doing free basketball clinics over at the Riverside Park. So I posted that today, just one of the examples. Some of the accomplishments, such as our 60th year of community action that we had at the UN, things like that. Partner highlights, some like UAU, Beacon, Cornerstone, all those partners that we work with. Content for engagement, you'll see some silly posts that are silly posts. No matter what we post, it always ties back to DYCD. Whether it's silly or serious, it always has to tie back, so people get a summary no matter what it is, whether it's Discover DYCD, which is what we're strongly pushing, summarizing, SYP. So these, we try to make it fun so people follow, share, comment, things like that. Then we have our how to find and navigate videos. So currently we're focusing on Discover DYCD. That might not be so intuitive for people, so we like to kind of create that how-to, enter your zip code here, click there, kind of in a video format, something fun, digestible. And then other agency resources, as I mentioned before, that kind of relate to youth and community. We have the Bronx DA, the Brooklyn DA sending us information. Can you post it? Absolutely. As long as it's free, it's for the community, it's for the youth, I am all for it. So just some posts, example posts that we've posted throughout the summer. We have our Summer Night Lights, which is what Andrew mentioned, our collaboration with the Yankees, which is really great. This is our engagement example that I want to show you. Over the summer, the youth was all about Brat Summer. There was an artist, Charlie X whatever. Her album was basically this, but it said Brat. So our summer interns wanted to transform that to something youthful in DYCD. So we created that, NYC Youth, just something very clear, very Brat Summer, and it was a very good engagement piece. Every month we like to create banners, just kind of highlighting the month, whether that's suicide awareness, back to school, after school programs, just some examples. Some reports, resources from our district attorneys, our resourcing tables. So just kind of wanted to highlight that. We do a lot, but again, it always ties back to DYCD and the resources that are available to everyone in New York. And so this is our YouTube. So we put a heavy emphasis in creating videos during my time here. We see a lot of the traffic on social media is leaning away from Facebook and Twitter and leaning really heavily into Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. As a city agency, we can't use TikTok. So we try to recreate those TikTok-style videos on YouTube. We're seeing that these really small bite-sized videos, whether they're 10 seconds, get quite a lot more engagement than the 1-minute videos, 2-minute videos, things like that. So these are some of the videos that we created. We had the Community Moms and Dads Gala, which we celebrated community moms and dads. Whole bunch of SYEP collaborations that we did with Essex Market, with the Yankees, with BioLabs at NYU Langone, things like that. Highlighting our Community Connect. So we wanted to highlight our call center. We wanted people to know that if you can't navigate the website, you can always call. And if you call, this is how we can help you. So that's kind of our focus. It's an ongoing thing because there's so much that call center is able to do. So this is just the beginning. We recently had our family literacy program that we highlighted from last year, which is a great video, and then a whole bunch of SYEP stories. These were from other vendors. These vendors created these stories, and then we posted it on our YouTube. And then finally, back to engagement, we are doing DYCD on the go. So if no one is aware of DYCD on the go, our digital storyteller, Samantha, who's our videographer, she created this concept where it's our team hitting the streets, interviewing people, asking them questions about New York City, about DYCD, just to bring awareness to our agency, and to build that engagement. When people answer a question, if people get it wrong or get it right, they get some piece of swag, whether it's a water bottle, a t-shirt, just to get people to come. We recently created our DYCD van. I don't know if you guys have seen our DYCD van, but now we have a big, colorful DYCD van that we're trying to figure out creative ways on how to utilize it. Some examples are resources, like maybe a van that, hey, this van will be in Brooklyn today, come get your free backpacks. Hey, this van will be at Beacon Community Center, come get help with your signups, things like that. So we can do something regarding that with the youth board. So the imagination is endless. It's just really about what the message is. So kind of wrapping up how we can help you. The first thing I would love for everyone to do is, if you guys have an idea, what's the call to action? when somebody sees this piece of content, what do you want them to do? Do you want them to fill out a form? Do you want them to visit a website? Do you want them to visit our social media? That'll help us kind of narrow down what needs to be done, what needs to be said, help with the script. Because saying, hey, here's a highlight, it's good, but it kind of ends there, right? We don't want it to just end there. We want them to move forward after that piece. So that's really important. It's what's the call to action. So some of the things that we would love to do with you guys, again, spotlights, registrations. If there was information, like how do youth get involved here? How do they sign up? How do they get more information? We can make that more digestible, more bite-sized. Informational, if you wanted to share any sort of successes that you guys have done through the youth board, I would love to share that. If the youth board has any events, we can always highlight those post-event highlights, kind of create that, oh, I want to be there type of thing. And then event invitations. If there's some sort of event that you want people to join, whether that's internal within our agency or external, we can help with that as well. And then that's really about it. It's really about the communication. I'm very heavy on communication. I think anything can be done with clear communication, so I like to really foster that. So thank you. That's my email. If anyone would love to start a conversation, you can always reach out to me. And that's about it. I would love for you guys to stay in touch. Again, any questions, you can always call Community Connect or check out our website.
Great,
Thank you so much.
Can I ask,
Yes.
in terms of like the social media pages, what type of engagement are you seeing? And are you mentioned that both Instagram and YouTube are having more engagement.
Yeah.
And like, and do you get any data on who's engaging? And like, is it hitting the youth? And is it getting folks?
It's reaching the youth, but the engagement seems to be more on the resources. People
Got it.
love to see the resources, whether that's internships, job opportunities, free programming, like I said with the free basketball clinics. In terms of the youth, we really haven't created that content to engage 13-year-olds. It's a little difficult to kind of create that kind of content.
Yeah, for sure.
Given our government agency side, but that's not to say that I would love to collaborate with community centers that work with these youth to kind of create that content around that. But then it brings the question of release forms and making sure that they're okay to be on camera. So there's restrictions that we have to consider when we're dealing with the younger population. But yes, the engagement seems to be heavily on resources, opportunities.
Okay.
Yeah. But we're trying to mold that a little bit more towards the youth.
And are you getting enough resources? Like, how can we help you?
Send me everything.
Yeah.
So,
Send me
I
everything.
imagine that you have to give parents permission.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, correct. For the most part, a lot of the programs, in my experience, when joining the program, they sign these waivers to release that sensitivity. But we still do our diligence and double check and triple check to make sure that if they're on camera, it's okay for them to be shown. It might be very sensitive depending on the individual. So yeah.
Do you happen to have any capacity to do focus groups? Or just understanding what kind of information a 13-year-old might be interested in receiving, or how they might want to be engaged on a social platform?
So it's funny you say that. So we're trying to understand. So we have a program called Saturday Night Lights, which is weekend programming, sports, about 100 plus sites for weekend nights, which is a phenomenal thing. But we're trying to increase that engagement with the youth. And from what I'm hearing, we keep asking program managers, we keep asking the NYPD to give us their feedback when we really should be focusing on the kids and saying, what do you want, what do you like, what you don't like. So we're working on it, but yeah, it's a work in progress, and it's the ball's definitely rolling.
And also, can you, I don't know if this is even possible, have different platforms that would be more audience? Because right now you're doing all your social media through, one Instagram platform.
Mhm.
One, like, could you have other kinds, I mean, like, divide it out a little bit?
So the black and white answer is yes.
Yeah.
The more complex answer is sustainability.
Yeah.
Is who is going to be covering this Instagram and who's going to be in charge of handling this
And the
information. Because I can only do so much, but if we want something dedicated, let's say for Saturday Night Lights, which I think needs their own Instagram, because that's something that kids want to know about, like basketball competitions, tennis competitions, that could all be the focus in the Saturday Night Lights Instagram. But there's currently no sustainability, yeah, correct, to kind of keep that going. Because
That's a whole job.
yeah, correct, yeah. And it'll be successful if there's continuity. There needs to be just consistency every week, every day. It can't be like once a
Content is
month.
everything.
Yeah, it can't be just a once a month thing.
But it's
But
possible.
absolutely,
Just no
absolutely,
capacity.
yeah,
Alright,
yeah. So we're working with the NYPD. We're currently creating a website to make Saturday Night Lights more digestible. Currently, when you go to the webpage, it turns into this big ArcGIS map that can be very overwhelming. It's very technical. If you don't know what you're doing, it can be a lot. So we're trying to create a more simple WordPressy website to kind of give the information. And then big dream is on that website be able to navigate by sport. So right now you can navigate by location, you can navigate by zip code, but you can't navigate by sport. And that's what kids care about. They don't care about everything else. They want to know, where can I play basketball, where can I play football, where can I play, so that's in conversation.
Great, thank you so much.
Absolutely, yeah.
So interesting.
Yes, and please, again, reach out to me. There's a lot of work to be done. The growth is explosive right now, and we're doing great work, and would just love to continue that and just lift up the youth board even more so. And we're just getting started with Abube, so thank you.
Okay, rolling along. Time. Okay, so we're actually we're at the end. You did good.
And there's more to come.
Yes. All right, so our next meeting is December 11th. And Chris Bastari?
Yeah, unfortunately, Chris did make an attempt to come today. Unfortunately, he had an incident downstairs, so he couldn't get, I don't mean this company, I mean on the subway station. Unfortunately, lost his wallet.
Oh.
So unfortunately, he had to scramble, go get his credit card, the whole 9 yards. So he couldn't be here, but he will be hosting our next meeting
Yes.
at his organization headquarters. So we look forward to that.
Yeah. So it will be at Borrow
Yes.
Strategies. So, and more information, so,
Borrow
yes.
Strategy, that's his organization.
Another fun thing, board meeting. And again, just really grateful, Donna, for hosting us here at Lincoln Center today. And we're gonna be on our way now to our refreshment hour.
Everyone's welcome. I hope everyone will come. DYCD team as well. I normally am there, when I host something, I'm there, but because I'm here, I had my kid's old babysitter. I called her and said, could you please come and help put everything out, but can you get the fresh directories? And so she is there. Her name is Alex, but she has texted me and said that she's, gonna be there and everything's good. So, very informal. I know some of you are coming to the lovely show that Jordana invited us to.
Yeah,
if
the
not,
show is,
yeah.
I know we just to say,
Yeah.
first of all, I mean, we have, the atrium space where the show is, we have pre-programming there all year long, and the programming is about 3 to 4 nights a week, and it's a little bit of everything, so everything from social dance. Tomorrow night we have Orchestra Broadway, great salsa band, really kind of the foundation of salsa in New York City. Last night we had La Dame Blanche, an amazing performer who, her father is part of the Buena Vista Social Club, and she was a trained classical flautist and has her own style of music now. And tonight we have Voices of a People's History, and I thought it was so lovely to have this connection. Voices actually is based on Howard Zinn's book of A People's History of the United States, telling the history of communities coming together to make change and make America better. It is our 10th anniversary working with Voices. It's a civically minded performance organization. it is also the kickoff of our year-long working with them in terms of youth engagement. So the Voices goes into about 3 schools. It's been more in the past, it kind of changes depending on the schools, and they're everything from part of this history curriculum to an after-school program. So they kind of figure out how to fit into the school and the school's need, and they work with students, and the students will then, at the end of the school year in May, come and actually perform with some celebrity artists on the same stage. So we try to invite our students to come to this performance so they can kind of see what it looks like, and then get a chance to understand what it would be to performing, and then to get inspired, and then we work. Voices actually goes into a classroom, I think, every other week, and works with these students to like actually get them to find a piece. And the students, it's all very self-led. They like find a piece from the book that speaks to them. They do research about it, they connect it to current issues and how it relates to what's happening, and then they edit it, and then they learn how to present it. So it's giving them editing skills, writing skills, and presentation skills, which are so key to like doing a job interview and things of that sort. So, and it's often like, one of these schools, this was the only program that they had that was any theatrical experience to begin with. So it's a really lovely program. Tonight is very special. We've got some great artists. We've got Asif Mandi, we have B.D. Wong, we have, Wallace Shawn from The Princess Bride. We have some really great folks, so you're more than welcome. And if you could just give me a heads up of like how many people have reserved seats for folks to come.
Great. All right, so I'd like to motion for adjourning meeting. Okay, all right, so second, I have, okay, Jennifer. So our meeting is adjourned. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And anyone wants to walk over with me, we can walk over together, but you also have the address. It's Central Park West between 61 and 62.